I want to get this out of the way right off the bat. I really dislike camera comparisons. And the reason I don't like camera comparisons is no one's ever going to view your content side by side with another camera that shot the exact same thing. So in isolation, most cameras now, if not all cameras, look fantastic. Sure, if you start doing side-by-sides and pixel peeping, you can find flaws in pretty much any camera that's on the market, but it completely defeats the purpose of how people consume the things that you create. And so for a long time now, I've completely avoided creating any sort of camera comparison, whether it's photo or video. Like pro camera versus iPhone, get out of here. It means absolutely nothing to me. You use a phone because you like a phone. You use a mirrorless camera or a DSLR because you like a mirrorless camera or DSLR. They're just different tools that may accomplish the same goal. They just have a very different workflow, and whatever you like is the one you should go with. And more importantly, go with the one you can afford. Now, with all that being said, I have an FX30 and a 15 Pro, and I think this is an interesting comparison because they are relatively similarly priced, and I think they complement each other quite well now that you can shoot log on the 15 Pro. If you're a freelance videographer now, you know every client is asking for vertical and horizontal content, and so I always started thinking, you know, if this new 15 Pro can mix really easily with my FX30, perhaps I can stop having to shoot extra wide to do these vertical crops, because it just completely kills your creativity and your cinematography. Everything looks like crap because you're trying to either crop for the 9:16 or try to preserve some sort of decent frame in your 16:9, and both ended up looking like shit. So if I can convince a client that we can just use the 15 Pro for all our vertical stuff because it's gonna look so damn close to the FX30, now that we have log and now that this image quality is at a point where, you know, the test that I've done in the short film that I put out, it doesn't really look like phone anymore. Like, it does look like phone, but it's really, really good phone footage. But I digress. What I ended up doing is a little side-by-side test with the FX30 and the iPhone 15 Pro, both shooting in their log profiles, so S-Log3 and Apple Log, and I put a grade on the footage as well to match it to an aesthetic that I usually shoot with. So I'm just gonna show the footage. I'm not gonna tell you which camera is which until the end, and you can try and decide which one's the iPhone and which one's the FX30. And then we'll have a chat afterwards on my takeaway and my thoughts about this comparison. Enjoy. Yeah, so it's a lot closer than I even anticipated. This looks really good. And more importantly, I now have a camera that I can just mount vertically on top of my FX30, and I don't have to worry about this 9:16 crop anymore. Yeah, I've matched up lenses here. I use the 16-28 on the FX30 at 2.8 just to match that 24mm equivalent on the iPhone. Of course, if you use a decent lens or a prime lens, get down to like T1.2 or f1.4, you can absolutely destroy the quality of the iPhone. But as a runaround, run and gun setup for social media stuff, you can interchange the footage from the 15 Pro and the FX30 without an issue. Even in low light, which I thought was crazy. I thought as we got to like dusk, like, yeah, of course, like right away, the FX30 is gonna be much better. And even still, you can barely tell the difference. Now you might be wondering, am I now saying you should just get a 15 Pro instead of the FX30 because they look so similar? Absolutely not. Like we talked about earlier, it's all about workflow. And on top of that, you wanna be able to add lenses to your camera. Because of course, if you match the lens to the 15 Pro, it's gonna look a lot similar, but there is still a quality to bigger sensors and better glass that the iPhone can just not match. Now that we can get close with color, fantastic. The next step with these phones to get better and better is better optics and better lenses and bigger sensors. Phones, in my opinion, have always just been the best camera to have around in general. If you got to catch a B-roll shot, if you just got to film something quick, you're making a TikTok, all that kind of stuff. And so having log on it just makes it a little easier for us to mix it with our professional projects and films So that's a win for absolutely everybody. But it doesn't mean you're gonna buy a 15 Pro instead of any mirrorless camera. Go buy a cheap GH4, get a Pocket 4K. That thing looks literally like an Alexa if you get a Pocket 4K for under $1,000. It's gonna shoot monumentally better than anything any phone can produce right now. Let me know in the comments what you thought between the 15 Pro and the FX30. Am I out to lunch here? I actually think they look really damn similar, almost like scarily close. And personally, I think it's more than good enough for me to go to a client and say, look, we're gonna shoot all the social stuff now on the iPhone, and it's gonna look just as good as our footage that we shot on our mirrorless cinema camera. If you haven't seen the short film that I made on the 15 Pro, check that out. If you want more videos about the 15 Pro, please let me know in the comments what you wanna know and I'll see if I can make it. But otherwise, my name is Patrick and you will see or hear me next time I feel like making a video. Cheers.